Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, and my goodness, this episode was dramatic as all hell. Honestly, this episode had so much dang drama in it, I thought I was watching an episode of 90 Day Fiancé. But that said, before we actually get into talking about episode 6, turning a misfortune into a blessing, I do, as always, want to give a big thank you to those of you who shared last week's video over on Twitter. So, a big thank you to Luna Da Otaku, D Cherry Wolf, Fire Otaku 845, A Snapshots, and Kisa-chan 94. Thank you so much for sharing the last video over on Twitter, everybody, and if you too would like to have your name shouted out in the next Junjo Romantica video, then be sure to share this video around on the internet, and then tag me at JoJo Talks Much over on Twitter, and I will be sure to shout out the first 5 of you in next week's video. Alright, so with all that said, we're gonna go ahead and get into the video, but before we do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and support Egoist. Okay, so when it comes down to this week's episode, there's really just two things stirring the pot. I'm gonna say something else, but it's still early on in the episode and I'm not allowed to swear just yet. But there are two things stirring the pot in this week's episode. You got fate itself scheming to keep Egoist away from each other, scheming, just being nefarious, and the other thing causing drama in this week's episode is not fate, but a person. It is Miyagi, Professor Miyagi. This man, I'm not sure if I ever want to see what happens with this dude's story, because this dude bothers me so much. We're gonna start with him, and then we're gonna get into the dramatic, lovey-dovey stuff in just a second. But Miyagi, this man bothers me so much because he. Basically, when Nawaki attempts to call Hiro to explain, hey, I'm meeting a professor of mine from when I was studying abroad. He's going to be here. His plane might be late, though, so I might be a little bit behind, but I will be at the restaurant, so don't leave. Don't go anywhere. And so Nawaki leaves this message with Miyagi, who doesn't actually deliver the message. I think he was maybe about to. He was about to, and then chose not to. And that was red flag number 1, right? That was where I was like, okay, I knew you were actually technically this is red flag number 2, because he was giving me bad vibes all of the last episode. So this is red flag number 2, right? So I'm like, okay, I am very much concerned about Miyagi and the way he acts towards Hiro. I think he's trying to get in the way. I don't really like this. This kind of bothers me a little bit. And then the second thing that he does is the final red flag where I'm like, okay, I don't like this dude. This dude is a bad person. And that is him. So when Hiro inevitably doesn't see Nawaki in the rain, it's this dramatic ass scene in the rain where neither of them see each other, and it seems like all hope is lost for Egoist. And Hiro comes back to the office. I don't know why he goes to the office specifically. Could have just went home, but he goes back to the office and he's all drenched from the rain, and Miyagi sees him and gives him a towel to dry off, and Hiro cries because obviously he's heartbroken. He's really messed up by everything that just happened, and Miyagi takes advantage of this and tries to get intimate with him. And I was like, okay, you creepy dick. You are a bad person. I do not like this man. I do not want to follow a romantic interest for this man. I got no interest in this dude other than maybe seeing him get punched in the face. Alas, we don't actually get to see Nawaki punch him in the face. I was really hoping we would see him punch him in the face, because, oh my god, Nawaki would straight up destroy Miyagi in a fight. That dude Nawaki would take Miyagi to prom, drop him off, not even pay. Just poof. Again, Olin Rogers, best quote ever. Even by the time we get to the end of the episode, right? Even by the time we get to the end, he's it's just more red flags, because Miyagi doesn't chase after them or anything. He just sort of lets them run away. So I was like, okay, so I at least appreciate that he just kind of lets the two of them sort their shit out. But then we check in with him again later, and he's like, hey man, I'm just happy you're happy, but I did have to clean up waterlogged hallways and a pretty messed up bookcase. We'll get to that in just a sec. But he's like, yeah, and it's hard being me. I'm a very busy dude, and I had to clean up somebody else's mess. and it's basically him making Hiro, like, indebted to him, which is, like, just, why is he the worst? Why is this man the worst? And he smokes indoors, as if he couldn't be more obnoxious. This man, like, smokes inside. What an asshole. Like, that's my general feelings towards Miyagi. Like, he seems to be, like, a romantic rival for Egoist, which is weird, because I believe he's gonna have his own side plot with his own romance, so it's like, why do you need to be the rival in one and then, like, have your own? Whatever. That said, we're also possibly getting a rival for Junjo Romantica, like, the main ship, so I saw that in the preview. Again, I really gotta stop watching the previews, but it looks like there's gonna be a new rival, even though we already have a rival, but there's gonna be a second rival. But yeah, so Egoist, and I have a feeling too, even with Egoist, like the professor from America probably is going to be like another rival. There's too many love rivals. But yeah, it's if I had to pick the worst love rival, it would maybe be Miyagi, because like this man sucks. That said, we do gotta talk about the other thing in the episode, stirring the pot, causing trouble, basically just causing shit, and that is fate itself. It seems like fate itself was not so much pulling them apart, because by the end of the episode, it once again pushes them back together, but it's like it was testing Egoist. Like, okay, how far can I stretch this relationship to a breaking point? You know, like, where is the breaking point for this relationship? That's what fate was trying to do. The arbiters of fate. I've been playing too much Final Fantasy VII. But the arbiters of fate working to hurt Egoist. And it killed me too, because like the scene is such a classic dramatic moment, right? Where, oh no, like Nawaki's stuck at the airport. Oh no. Why is it that every rom-com has an airport scene? There's always some variation on an airport. Either somebody's stuck at an airport, or somebody's trying to stop somebody from leaving like getting on a plane at an airport, or there's just some scene that takes place in an airport. There's always an airport. I'm very curious. I want to start looking up the reason for certain cliches, and one of them that I would start with would be, what's the deal with airports? What's the deal with airports? Like, I don't know. But of course there was an airport in this episode, because this episode is dramatic as all hell. So because of how damn dramatic it is, it needs an airport scene. So, there's an airport scene where unfortunately Nawaki's not able to make it to the restaurant in time because he's waiting for this professor to show up, and it takes him like right past like the point where he's already late. I think he's late by like a full hour, which is like, oof, not a great look. But I had this thought of like, oh, well, I mean, it's an older show, so maybe they just don't have cell phones, but then we see cell phones, and I was like, oh yeah, it's 2008. They would definitely have cell phones. Why aren't you just texting each other or like calling or something? And in fairness, Hiro does attempt to call Nawaki, but he's out of service because he's like on the train. But why not just text him? I mean, back then, I guess it was like 25 cents per text, and maybe Hiro's just trying to be very frugal. I don't know, but I was thinking like, just text him. What the hell? Like this situation would not happen today. This would be very easily like, hey, I'm stuck at the airport waiting for my teacher. I'll be right there. I might be a little bit late, just so you know. Boom, text, done. This wouldn't have been a problem today. But again, it's gotta be dramatic, so we get that scene in the rain, and everybody's got hurt feelings. Again, like this show loves having characters stand outside in the rain, like making everything dramatic as all hell for no reason. But not for no reason. It's trying to have like a very specific vibe, but I love it. And this leads to the chase through the library. And this is the most beautiful scene in this entire show, and legitimately made me go like, I had this thought of like, I am so glad that I finally sat down and started watching Junjo Romantica. If not for the fact that the show actually does make me laugh, like a number of times, a lot of the jokes do land for me. It's very funny. But the fact that, like, and not even Romantica. Like, Romantica does nothing for me as a ship. Like, it's getting there. It's getting to a point where it might. I got no interest in Miyagi. Like, so I really doubt I will care even one iota about that relationship. But I'm so glad I watched this show, because Egoist is so dang good. I literally just punched my leg because that's how excited I am about Egoist. It's such a good relationship. And this show, when it feels like it, can actually have some brilliant dialogue, which is surprising considering nobody in the show just talks about the feelings except for this moment, except for the chase through the library. And I love this because this moment has Nawaki explain, like, I told you I was leaving. And Hiro's like, bullshit, you did. And I'm thinking, like, I feel like he did. And then by the end of the episode, they explain that, like, oh yeah, no, he definitely did. Like in the post-credit scene, it's like, no, dude, I definitely told you. And like they actually show the scene where Nawaki does explain to Hiro, like, yeah, like I was thinking about going away, but I don't know if I should do it. And Hiro, like, in fairness, I'm the same way when I'm editing and people are talking to me, I'm like, yep, cool. Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, you should totally do that. Like I'm not really paying attention. I'm sort of like absent-minded, like, yeah, I mean, go for it. Like if you want, yeah, sure, whatever. Like I'm not paying attention. So I do get where Hiro is coming from. Like he's working on a research paper of some kind. So he's like, yeah, whatever, yeah, go. Like if it were me, I would go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like he's not actually paying attention. So of course when Nawaki leaves, because of how much of a shock it is, he doesn't really remember that moment. He's just sort of like, holy shit, like well, he just left. Like he doesn't remember us giving him permission to go, which I would call bullshit, but since I do that same thing, I have to admit, like, yeah, I can see that happening. And based on the character that Hiro has been portrayed as, yeah, that doesn't really surprise me that happened. But the scene is so damn good because the dialogue is so good in this scene. It's so beautiful to see these two finally just like say what's on their mind and just get everything off their chest. Like, I will say I was a little bit upset with Hiro because this man was straight up throwing books at Nawaki, like actually like hurting Nawaki. Like it left him with like a bruise on his eye. And I was like, yikes. Like he was just angry, so pissed off with him that he just starts hucking books. And I don't know if you guys have seen Boy Meets World, but enough books can kill somebody. So I was like, bro, don't be throwing books. Like that's so not necessary. Like just talk about your feelings. Just talk. Like again, like just talk feels like the name of the game with the show. But holy shit, they actually talk. And it's a beautiful ass scene. Like the whole like when Hiro's getting upset and Nawaki like grabs his arms and he's like, just like stop throwing shit at me. Like stop. And Hiro's just like, I'm pissed. I'm so angry at you because I love you. And I was like, what? Like he said the words, holy shit. It takes people a long ass time to say that. And I mean, it did take them a long ass time to get to this point, especially like in canon. But like, yeah, he just says like, is that okay? I love you, you asshole. Like, and I was like, damn, like this is really heavy. And then Nawaki explaining like the whole reason I went away was so that I could be somebody who can stand shoulder to shoulder with you. I was supposed to be gone for 2 years. I finished it in 1 year. I worked my ass off to get back to you. And it's like, oh my God. And like, even like the snoo scene that follows is tasteful. Everything about this scene is so damn beautiful. It actually hurt because of just how good it was. Like I was so shocked. Like like you guys know, like the internal dialogue for these characters, I love. I think the internal dialogue, especially for Hiro, this dude seems to have like the inner monologue of like a superhero character, where just like they have like he's like Batman inner monologue, where it's just beautifully written and it's like really poetic. And like Hiro's dialogue, like both internal and external in this episode, is fantastic. These characters feel like this drama, like this like library scene, felt totally real. Like it felt absolutely genuine. I don't know about snoo in a library. That shit seems uncomfortable. Like maybe that's just my ace side being like that. Like, I mean, like all of it seems uncomfortable to me, but like specifically a library seems uncomfortable to me. But like, I don't know. I'm not them. Maybe that's what they're into. But regardless, beautiful ass scene and a beautiful ass episode. Also, the scene with the letters is really funny. I don't know where else I could have said that, but the scene with the letters is really cute and really funny, and I liked it. Anyway, end of the video. So with that said, everybody, I'm going to wrap up today's video here. Question of the day today: what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen happen in a library? Let me know in the comments. And with that said, we've reached the end of the video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then don't forget to boop the up snoot and share if you care. And if you want to see me rambling even more, then feel free to follow me on Twitter or join our good folks Discord, both of which are linked in the doobly-doo. Lastly, if you're feeling generous, consider checking out our Patreon page to help support this channel. Speaking of which, I'd like to give a big thank you to our lovely patrons, such as Zevi, Alex, Andrew W., Branson C., Calvin A., Crowbar of Irony, Daniel G., Deep Not That Deep, Digger the Fox, Dominic G., Emily, Ionos, Urza, Ginkotaku, Godzilla Fan, No For Nothing, Maria T., Marshall B., Mater, Mirth Mouser, Nymad, Cell, Shadow Creative, Stephen G., The Suavest Orange, Tristan G., and Verdon. Thank you all so much for your continued support over on Patreon, and once again, thank you for checking out today's video. Hope you guys have a lovely day, and until next time, you stay classy, AnyTube, and wash your dang hands.